And I also believe we're now told that about the light barrier and the speed of light. I also believe that one day we're going to figure that out too, because humans are very resourceful creatures. And we are terrific as a species in the long run anyway at working our way around or blasting through these barriers. So it does bug me that that traditional science is not more open to this. I would love to see actual physicists going to these locations and doing field research under lab conditions. Unfortunately, though, it's the kiss of death, isn't it, for an academic?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the problem.
And there are a lot of them that are interested in the paranormal, but they're pretty much ostracized by science. And Charles Tart, for example, is very well known for his work in the parapsychology area. But he's known for his work there, but ostracized from getting any sort of science degree or science recognition anymore because of his paranormal work.
And it's unfortunate because with science, you have such a large base of people reporting these experiences. And the truth of it is that if just one of these accounts throughout all of history, if just one of them is correct, you have a phenomenon that needs to be studied because the laws of physics don't quite work the way we think they do.
Correct.
Right? Just one of them. Yeah. When I talk to skeptics, and I try and do so very respectfully because I'm skeptical myself. To me, though, skeptic just means show me the evidence. It doesn't mean I don't believe you no matter what you show me. I'm just skeptical to the point of, okay, it's a pretty crazy claim. Let's see the evidence to support it. Well, I always do like to talk to skeptics and say, if you're going to tell me that none of this stuff happens, none of it's real, you have to be right 100% of the time. We have to be right just once, and then you have something that needs further investigation.
I'm for that.
Yeah. I was at a nursing home one time. It's no longer there. It's been closed and torn down. But we were investigating in there, and we were down like in what was the day room. It was at the end of a hallway, and we'd been talking, and all of a sudden, we got silent. And all of a sudden, the recorder picks up a little girl saying, "Please wake up."
Yeah.
And we don't know if somebody fell asleep, she's trying to get him to wake up, or if somebody had died and she was trying to get him to wake up. Don't know. There wasn't anything there, but it picked a little girl up. And stuff like that has always fascinated me.
Yeah, I do find that fascinating also. We recorded at the Villisca Axe Murder House the sound of a child giggling, and the only three people in that house were three middle-aged men. How do you explain it? And yet there it is.
I know, and it didn't come from any of us, and it was only just a few of us in there investigating. So and none of us was a little girl. So
yeah.
I've caught quite a few different things like that, which I really like it when I catch things.
Those are the nuggets of gold that you sieve for, aren't they?
Yes, it is.
You pan for those nuggets, and those are the ones that keep you coming back.
That's exactly it. Yes. So, our time is running right on by. You've been to Gettysburg quite a few times. You know that there's a house out on the battlefield that you can rent for a night.
I'm slowly working my way through my dream spots in Gettysburg. So I go every year to support the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, which is a wonderful charity event supporting the Wounded Warrior Foundation and childhood leukemia. And a lot of paranormal investigators go, and we band together because we believe in that cause. And it's a great opportunity as well to go to the most haunted battlefield in the world. So I adore Gettysburg. I would live there in a heartbeat if I could.
Yeah,
I did the Fairfield Inn project the first time. The second time I did the Farnsworth House,
Right.
which is also one of my favorite haunted places to stay in Gettysburg or anywhere. Love the Farnsworth. And then this year I'm working on a project that will cover the haunting of the orphanage and the Jenny Wade house.
All right. Was it you that did the one in the Farnsworth house about the mirror?
So I did. It appeared, I think, on the TV show Kindred Spirits.
Right.
And let's just say I see things differently than they do, and leave that there. But I'd written about the mirror, and we'd had zero experiences with that mirror. We spent a lot of time down in that basement where the mirror is. Did get some strange things. I mean, I was jabbed in the back there,
Really?
which was just incredible. And my colleague Anna was sitting behind me, and in fact, I was sitting there just doing an EVP session, and I felt very distinctly a finger. I hope it was a finger anyway. Poke me in the back, and I turned around and gave her this foul look, and she looked at me like, what? Hadn't been her. But in terms of the mirror they have in the basement there, which is supposedly associated with the paranormal activity, I didn't find anything during my research. Doesn't mean there isn't a link just because I didn't find it, but that's my personal experience. The house itself, though, is very active, especially the Sarah Black room upstairs, which is directly underneath the attic. And the attic is where, during the battle, a nest of Confederate snipers basically harassed the Union lines on Cemetery Hill, which is just a little bit up the street. And it's believed that this is where the shot was fired, which killed Jenny Wade, the one civilian casualty of the Battle of Gettysburg. So I love that location. And people that are in the room below it often report the sounds of heavy footsteps on the attic floor, as if, soldiers wearing their hobnail boots, and the sound of heavy objects being dragged around up there when the attic's empty.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Mirrors being portals, which I have yet to try to figure out how, other than they were used by mediums for scrying at some point in time. But I never have been able to figure out the portal part.
So mirrors are interesting, aren't they? There's a long history of their use, particularly for scrying in psychic research. My friend, old Linda, who's actually in the chat, she's very much into black mirrors. She makes them, she crafts them herself, and is experimenting with those. And she has a lot of luck with those mirrors that are black. But I've done scrying just once with a mirror, and for me at least, it was difficult to tell how much was my own eyes playing tricks. But I do know colleagues that have used mirrors for scrying, and they claim to have had some pretty interesting results with them. But the fascination with mirrors and their link, supposedly with the spirit communication, goes back centuries, doesn't it?
Yes, goes way back.
It does indeed, and I have to say that I don't have a sufficient amount of experience to be any kind of skilled commentator on it. So my mind is open. The jury's still out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I believe it's the Myrtle's plantation that has the mirrors with the fingerprints and the handprints in them, and it's lead glass, so I'm sure that part of it is just in the manufacturing process. But it's difficult to figure out weed out some of the actual physical reasons why things happen, as opposed to the paranormal side of it.
It is. I mean, and my suspicion is that I'm very open to using anything that acts as a tool like that. There are so many different methods of spirit communication, or attempted, and mirrors are just one of them. I know that there's a lot of bias, for example, against talking boards, or I know people call them Ouija boards, but talking boards I think is a better generic term. I know some people that won't use them or flat won't allow them in their location. But I've never understood the belief that they are any more dangerous than scrying with a mirror or using a radio scanning device to try and communicate with spirits. All these techniques, whether technological or an object or just a mental technique, they're all attempts to open yourself up to something and communicate with it, aren't they?
True.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So Robert Murch, who runs is
Yes.
the chairman of the Talking Board Historical Society, has his Talking Board Museum down in Denver. Robert's a good friend, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to go visit him along with some other investigators. And Robert's bathroom, he has 50-something Ouija boards, spirit boards. I keep saying Ouija. 50-something spirit boards on the wall of his bathroom. He has hundreds of these things on display in his house. So you would think that Robert's house should be ground zero for paranormal phenomena, right? If these boards are what some people fear they are, his house should be the biggest portal to the nether dimension that you can imagine.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so I asked him about it, and he said, no. Hi there, Nightfire, whoever you are, from the chat room. Robert's house should be so active. It should be, things should be flying off shelves and so on. I asked him and his husband, and they said, no, never had anything really strange like that associated with these boards at all. So, that fascinates me. It really does.
Yeah. I have 6 of them in the closet. Not a peep out of any of them.
Not a peep out of any of them, huh? There's so many different ways you can use things to communicate supposedly with the spirit world. My grandma and mom and all of them, they were from Kentucky, and they had all kinds of stuff that they would be tales that they'd be talking about, and they would take a candle and just let it be burning and ask a question and say, if the answer is yes, make the flame go tall. If it's no, make it grow short. And that candle flame will either go tall or it'll go short.
It's kind of interesting that back in the Victorian era, that used to be, and even the early part of the 20th century, that used to be a fairly common way of, I don't want to say entertaining yourself, but at night, it wasn't like you would sit in front of the TV. It wasn't at all unusual for families to break out the spirit board, and sit around it and try and communicate with their dead relatives. What I won't do is dismiss those people that have had strange or bad experiences and that are therefore wary of them. I respect that, and I think that each one needs to be treated with respect. When I use a spirit board, I still open it up and close it very carefully, and I will only communicate. I will expressly say I'll only communicate with any entity that is of a good and decent, honest nature, because I don't believe you should treat them lightly. But I don't think you should treat anything in the paranormal field lightly either.
No.
And so I don't believe they're any more dangerous than the other techniques that we use.
Which is true. That's true.
Yeah, generally, I think as an overall philosophy, if you come into this field with respect, it's a huge, huge safety measure. Treat the whole field and everyone and everything within it with respect, and you are 90% of the way towards a safe outcome.